On today's show, we're going to talk about being happy, not being happy, and what you can do when you're not happy. And I'm going to share with you a real emotional story from me, or at least it was a real scary time in my life when I thought I might lose my daughter. And we were going to custody court about child support and child custody, and it was a very scary time. And I was a very angry dude at one stage, and I shifted everything in a simple, short little drive in my car. I hope you're going to love the show.
Cowboy.
Welcome to a daily dose of greatness quest with your host, Trevor Crane, my daddy. He is going to help you take your life and business to the next level.
Here I come to save the day.
Trevor Crane here, 11-time #1 best-selling author and the founder of Epic Author Publishing, coming to you live every day so you can plug in every day to build your ideal business so you can live your ideal life.
If my daddy can do it, then anybody can do it because he's a weirdo.
You're supposed to make me sound cool.
Okay, so what do you do when you're not happy? I've got one core question that you can use that can change everything for you. And this is on the back of some things that I learned from Tony Robbins and actually applying shit in my life. And years ago, I learned to reprogram my mindset and reprogram meaning of words and the reprogramming, like what I'm focused on and thinking about. And it's helped me massively. But I found myself really, 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 really pissed off. I was going to court to fight for custody for my daughter. At the time, my daughter's mother and I were arguing, and I needed to take her to court because I was not getting the time that I wanted with my daughter. We were disagreeing, and we had times when she was moving, and I was trying to move my house and my apartment wherever I was going to live near her. And she would one point she was in New York City. Then a couple of weeks later, she was in upstate New York, and she and I were not seeing eye to eye. Now, she was doing the best she could, and I'm not blaming her right now. This is just my sharing with you what was going on at the time. So at any rate, at one stage, I said, okay, we've got to have a judge actually definitively decide for us, like, what the child custody rule is going to be between us. And at the time, we were sharing our time with our daughter 50-50. When we first went to court, we basically had to go back to court and then back to court and back to court. I don't know, it was 3-4 visits, something like that. And in the interim, the judge said to me that it was my responsibility to pick up my daughter and drop her off every time we exchanged my daughter. And at that time, it was like maybe 3-4 times a week because we were basically alternating every other day. So that meant every other day I needed to go pick up my daughter and go drop her off. Now, the challenge with this is it was about an hour and 10-minute drive. So that meant 3-4 days a week, I was caught in the car for about 2.5 hours. And on one of these drives, is like the third drive of the week, I was caught in traffic, and I'm driving to go pick up my daughter or drop her off. No, I was going to pick her up. And I was so pissed off and so angry and so feeling like this wasn't fair. At the time, I had paid for some things that I thought were bills that my daughter's mother and I should share. And we were arguing about money. We were arguing about time that we were going to spend with our daughter. And I was so angry, I almost couldn't drive. I was shaking so badly. So here is what I did. I was driving along, so pissed off, so road rage, not other people on the road, but of this circumstance and situation, and I felt so helpless and so angry, it just makes me want to fight. And so I asked a core question that Tony Robbins gave me years ago, and it is, what else could this mean? So that's my daily question for you. If you find yourself looking at a circumstance and you don't like it, what else could this mean? When I filed my bankruptcy, originally, I thought even just the concept of filing my bankruptcy, I thought that meant I was a loser, I was a cheat, I was a thief, I was a liar. And because my identity is not, I do not think of myself as being a liar, a cheat, a thief, and a loser, I fought against it. And when I asked the question, what else could this mean? Basically, my first answer was like fucking nothing. I was so aligned with the meaning of pain, of my wife, or not my wife, my daughter's mother being unfair and this being the not the right thing, that I was just pissed off. But I kept asking the question because I sat there in the car, and my initial response was that, like, this couldn't mean anything else. This is just unfair, and I'm being cheated, and I have to spend all this money and spend all this time, and I was just freaking out. But I asked the question again, what else could this mean? And as I was driving, this was in upstate New York, and I looked at the road and I looked around me, and there was this beautiful blue sky with these puffy clouds. And I realized that I was driving down the road, like, what else could this mean? And I realized that there was beauty all around me. There were rolling hills at the time. They were green as could be. And it was just beautiful. And I was like, why am I so pissed off on this beautiful drive? What else could this mean? And I thought about it, and I'm like, well, right now this means to me that this is unfair, this is unjust, and I get really upset when I think something is unfair, especially to me or the people that I love. And then I came up with, I'm like, well, what if this had a meaning about my daughter? Instead of focused on whether or not I was right or whether or not this was fair, what if the meaning of this was that, like, what would I do for my daughter? And the truth was, I would do anything for her. And so I started realizing that the meaning of me driving back and forth to pick up my daughter, if it was just about my daughter and not about court, not about the judge, and not about her mother, and not about our argument, if what this really meant was that I am a good dad and that I care about my daughter, and what would I do for my daughter? And the answer was anything. And what if this was about my daughter and about making her happy and doing the right thing and showing her that she was loved? In like 1 minute, maybe 2, I transformed the feeling of this drive. In fact, I decided, what else could this mean? Maybe this was an opportunity while I was driving in the car. Maybe this was a gift that every day I got to drive both ways in the car. Like, what else could I do with this time? Could I listen to audiobooks? Could I call my clients? Maybe this is time for me to have Trevor time. Maybe this could be the biggest gift of my life, to be able to drive back and forth. What if this drive wasn't a pain in the ass, but this drive was something that I looked forward to? And what if this drive actually was a gift, and it was the thing that would set me up for my daughter, and it was something that I could enjoy every moment? And I still remember it. This was such an amazing revelation for me, because in the middle of a drive that I was started off the first half hour so pissed off I couldn't see straight, I finished happy. It blew my mind. I honestly didn't think it was possible. That even wasn't my goal. I was just trying to survive. I was just trying to make sure I didn't strangle somebody. But I blew my mind that I had developed this skill of adjusting the meaning of events. And there's one core thing that can change the quality of your life. And it's basically what you choose to do. It's your decisions in life that determine the quality of your life. It's not your conditions. And I didn't come up with that phrase. I heard it from Tony Robbins, and I think it means a lot. So let me say it again. It's not the conditions of your life that determine the quality of your life. It's your decisions. And we get the opportunity to make new decisions all the time. You can make them in the middle of the drive. You can make them in the middle of being pissed off. I now use this strategy with my daughter when she gets upset or depressed. And there's actually only 3 things you can focus on or change at any time. And this is also something I learned from Tony Robbins. What are you focused on? What does this mean? And what are you going to do? What are you focused on? What does this mean? And what are you going to do? Remember in my example, I told you I was driving in the car, so pissed off, and then I looked out my window and asking the question of what else could this mean? God, this is a great question. And I looked around and I started to see the beauty around me. I started to focus on new things, and it started to change my physiology. Now, what I have found is that if you focus on changing any one of those 3 things, your focus, the meaning of an event, or what you do, you change all of them. You know, like when you're, I was drunk one time. I was hungover. I was living in the Bahamas, and I was hanging out with new friends, and they told me, hey, let's go out. And one of the senior guys in the situation, like, gave me a drink called a mind eraser. And it was something that we drank at this bar, and you suck it down with a straw. And it was this sweet drink. I don't remember exactly what was in it, but I remember I drank a lot of these suckers. And it's called a mind eraser. And the next day, he thought it was hilarious because I was so hungover I could barely function. And man, I thought I was going to die. Because I don't know if you've ever been that sick with a hangover or food poisoning or something like that, but he thought it was hilarious. I thought it was going to die, and he said, Trev, your job today is to go out there and work as lifeguard on the lifeguard station across the way. Now that meant I had to, and I was like, okay, I'll get a kayak and I'll kayak out to this location because it was like 200 yards out or 100 yards away from the beach, and I had to swim out there or somehow. And he said, no, I want you to swim instead of kayak. And I was like, dude, I'm so hungover. I had just vomited in the on the beach. And my manager was mad at me because he was the guy that actually got me drunk and thought it was hilarious. So I jumped in the water, and I was so pissed off that he made me swim over. But I put my face in the cold water, and I swam from the beach to the lifeguard tower. We called it Rock. That was the station because it's a big section of rocks. And by the time I got to the rock, everything had changed. I wasn't sick anymore. The cold water shifted me because it was what I did shifted my focus, and it shifted the meaning of the event. Actually, just physiologically, it was an amazing thing to do if I had a hangover. But the truth is, if you change any of them, if you do something different, if you focus on something different, even my baby, I've got a 4-month-old I'm carrying around in my arms right now on a walk around my neighborhood. And my baby gets upset, hurts himself, whatever it is. His name is Maverick, by the way. What I will do is shift his focus. I shift his position. I shift him physically. I get his eyes and his ears to focus on something else, and he forgets that he bumped his knee, hurt his head, or that he's so hungry he can't see straight and he's throwing a fit. So if you change any one of these, you can change your life. It is the decisions and choices you make in your life that determine the quality of your life. So that's all I've got for you today. If you find yourself in a situation where you're not happy about something or you don't like what's going on, I strongly advise that you ask this one core question. What else could this mean? That's about all I got for you. I think this is one of the coolest, one of the most life-changing questions that I've got in my arsenal. It's one that has absolutely served me when I've been in some of the hardest times in my life, like I just described one of them, and I hope it's a gift for you. So I got for you today. I hope to look forward to seeing you. I can't wait to see you on tomorrow's Daily Dose of Greatness Quest. Talk to you soon.
To get even more awesomeness, which means all my best stuff, download my app by texting Trevor to 36260. It will show up right on your cell phone. Just text message the word Trevor to 36260. Talk to you soon.